that these signatures would mean nothing?
That's crazy because, look, constitutionally speaking, or from a political or legal standpoint,
yes,
the signatures would just serve as a symbolism for the citizens backing Azimio's quest. But really, there is no legal framework in place as to guiding them in where actually the signatures can cause some sort of action.
Yes.
But it just to buttress their point that we hold the thoughts that this government is illegitimate, and we think it is wrongfully constituted, and we think probably the Supreme Court of Kenya erred in its judgment of confirming its victory. So it is just to buttress its case, but it has no legal consequence, it has no legal effect. It is just serving as political icing on the cake, but
yes,
really it doesn't hold much legal or practical ground as to warrant any sort of meaningful action that would amount to removing a president from office.
Pretty fine, Mr. Kigoli. And now that is done and settled, that when we're saying, well, indeed, majority of the signatures will go nowhere, the same question that I put towards Mr. Mungai this morning. But what does that tell the government in place, even if the Azimio coalition goes right ahead and gets this 15 million signatures? What does it tell the government in place?
The point it is passing across is that the people are with us in our push to have you reduce or lower the cost of living.
Yes.
The people are with us in calling for the reinstitution of subsidies on essential products such as fuel that would have a ripple effect on other essential or primary consumables.
Yes, Mr. Mungai, and I'm sorry to cut you short, but Raila Amolo Odinga is saying that these signatures are essentially geared to compelling William Ruto and Gachagua to step out of office. The signatures are no longer about the cost of living in the country.
It depends on how they want to do it. And a number of Azimio leaders are on record speaking about a possible secession.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about a possible secession, you must accompany yourself with some supporting signatures, like legitimate Kenyans supporting your cause, so that when you go to the UN body and you tell them, we want self-determination in Kenya, and here with us are accompanied 15 million signatures out of the 40, around just slightly above 50 million Kenyans, according to Kenya National Bureau of Statistics census report. So these signatures are symbolic, and they're just about to buttress a case, like to add more weight. But in terms of removing President William Ruto from office, they don't hold any legal consequence. In fact, they won't be cited anywhere, because when you look at the Constitution, look at Article 144 of the Constitution, look at Article 145 of the Constitution, and Article 144 provides for the procedure or reasons and grounds within which one can move for the president to be removed on grounds of incapacity. It could be physical or mental. So it is incumbent upon you to prove beyond any reasonable doubt that the president is physically and mentally incapable of governing or running a country. And that is not an easy thing to do, because the president will also have his fair chance of hearing, and he'll come to defend his presidency, and that is just going to be a legal and political battle. Now, the titans will clash, and the winner will carry the day. The proposer will be tasked to verify and to prove that indeed the president is incapable. Now, when you look at Article 145 of the Kenyan Constitution, 2010, it provides for the grounds of impeachment. Now, if you want to impeach a sitting president in the country, you must prove that the president has committed beyond any reasonable doubt and has violated a law or the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. And it is upon you to say the president acted against the letter and spirit of the Constitution and violated this specific article of the Constitution. And you have to prove by word and deed that indeed the president has violated. Now, the president could have committed a crime under international law. If I take you back memory lane, when President William Ruto and retired President Uhuru Kenyatta were facing charges of the International Criminal Court, if the court could have found them both guilty, that is a ground within which one can move to the National Assembly, either with a petition, or the National Assembly can act on its own volition, and one say the president is or has confirmed or is confirmed to have violated international law in which or on which Kenya is a signatory and a ratified member. And therefore, we have given our sovereignty to this International Criminal Code, the ICC.
Yes.
During, like, the prosecution of any Kenyan can happen in the ICC because we've given donated our jurisdiction to it as a court of international crimes. So it could be a crime against humanity, a genocide, war crimes, like what is happening in Sudan can merit a prosecution or a legal proceeding in ICC, and which, as long as Kenya is still a ratified member, our instruments are still valid at the ICC, then that is a ground on which one can move a motion to have the president impeached. But
yes,
again, lastly,
Mr. Kigole, now that we do understand that those are the facts, then I want to take a mid-response to this because I want us to jump into the next issue that I want us to talk about this morning. But what does that tell one Ruto, that the confidence of Kenyans essentially that they have in your government is essentially not there? They think that your government is illegitimate because that is the basis upon which these signatures are getting collected. In a proper democracy, would you like to imagine a case scenario where Ruto said, well, those 15 million that are signing these signatures on the basis of the legitimacy of my government or the popularity of my government, it's now time for them to step out because Kenyans have said, well, no.
Now, Simba, it should be noted that it is okay for a president to have the lowest approval ratings anywhere in the world. Even you look at President Obama's first tenure, his approval rating decelerated at some point.
Yes.
Because President Obama inherited a dilapidated economy. As such, William Ruto has took over the reins of government at a time the country is on a crossroads and between a hard place and a rock. So a decision has to be made moving forward. And what President Ruto is doing and the policy that he's advancing is for self-sufficiency. He's trying to dissuade the country from the route of excessive borrowing, which will spiral the public debt and just get a stranglehold of our economy. Because when you look at the Finance Bill 2023, you find a lot of money is going into debt servicing or debt repayment. Now, just a fraction of it is left for development. When a small fraction of the Finance Bill 2023 is left for development, what danger that poses is that the economy is likely to shrink. The economy is not likely to grow because there are no opportunities to create jobs. There is no opportunity for further investment in our infrastructure, be it roads, schools, and hospitals, and equipping them with modern state-of-the-art facilities that would attract much more foreign direct investment that we need here in this country. But then again, it is upon President William Ruto to make the tough choices.
Yes.
Now, one of the toughest choices he has made is...
Just hold on, Mr. Kigole. Obogo wants to jump in on that particular one.
Disagree with, and that's what I was saying here.
Yes.
We can't have always asking, you need time for this to happen. This is a duo.
Yes.
That when they were sworn in and they raised their hand and say, once this Bible comes down, this and this is going to be fast tracked. But like I said, we can have, depending on which side we are in. Others would say would be for the government, others would say they're not for the government. Today, I am not here to represent any functions.
Yes.
Like I told you, I am here to represent the people. As we speak, and I hear one of my colleagues is talking about cushioning loans. This morning, look at the nation. There's another fourth round to take 57 billion from IMF. That is another borrowing, the second largest borrowing from the borrowing that was done recently. You see, we have this government where there is a number of, populism, saying one thing, the other, and then the other thing you say, the other thing that is contradictory to what you're saying. And how do we justify this on the panel? And then, say that, give the president time. And the other time we had panelists here asking, we are only 11 months to this government. This government is trying as much as possible to make hard decisions. Simba, who do we listen to?
Yes.
Who do we listen to?
Just
I need my colleagues there to listen, because they are telling me,
yes,
they're trying to tell Kenyans on the live television that
yes,
President Ruto will make hard choices. If in fact, and I've said here, 90% of Kenyans did not approve, the finance bill that ultimately went to the Finance Act. And this 90% of the Kenyans, some of them who put this memo were from professionals, not even us here. The Media Owners Association, the aviation industry, the private sector, professionals who cautioned this government not to impose punitive taxes on people.
Yes.
And they went ahead and did that. Today and yesterday, the courts have quashed that decision. Are we still here talking about the government being unpopular by their willing?
Mr. Mugai,
and so sad that we are justifying this.
Yes. Mr.
This is
Mugai,
unacceptable.
Yeah, I want you to jump in, Mr. Mugai. That's the same question that Ovogo is asking this morning, which majority of Kenyans, if the 15 million will want you to answer that question, Mr. Mugai, that if you're not listening to the 15 million, then whose government are you running?
Thank you. I Daniel. I hope as many as possible were that passionate about their own welfare. And second, he did mention that the writing is on the wall, and I couldn't agree more. He even went ahead to quote the Bible.
Yes.
And I want to quote the Bible back to the audience, that indeed it is true, the writing is on the wall for Raila Amolo Odinga. And the writing is saying, Mene, Mene, Tekel. Time is up. And the reason why I say this is because Raila is not the custodian of democracy. That is number one. He has done a lot of work for this country in terms of making sure that we enjoy our democratic space.
Yes.
But if revolutionaries have been known to eat their own children, and this is what in essence is happening to Right Honorable Raila Odinga, who's been unable to be succeeded by even the younger generation who might have better tactics. I pose it to you that the fact that you have thousands of people in a market milling around the hyena does not necessarily mean that the people want to purchase the animal. People could be there out of curiosity, and people could be there out of their own concerns and out of their own reasons.
Yes.
And therefore, I couldn't agree more with my brother Edwin that tough decisions have to be made. Look, if you grew barefoot in a region like I did, and
yes,
you used to run barefoot, sometimes yes, you could get a thorn on your sole. Now, when that thorn is being removed in the evening, it is a painful affair. As much as we both know that the thorn must be removed, there will always be protestation as to how it is removed. And when we talk about give the administration time, and I have heard today's Daily Nation, I haven't read it today, talking about the IMF loan. Look, there is a difference between the wanton borrowing of the previous regime in terms of commercial loan vis-a-vis concessionary loan. There is a big difference. The terms are different.
Do we
you cannot
pay?
compare sleep and death.
Yes.
Do we pay for those
rest.
loans? Or
are
they grants or loans? At the end of the day,
temporary.
do we pay for them?
And therefore,
all right,
what I am urging the Right Honorable Raila to do, even as you collect the 15 million signatures, and I must repeat this, yes, all Kenyans, myself included,
yes,
when I get into a matatu and the price, in fact, my route has not increased the prices, by the way. They are very considerate. But at the end of the day, what we are saying
Mr. Mugai, today there's a matatu strike. Tomorrow there's going to be a matatu strike. Tomorrow there's going to be a matatu strike across the country.
And I pause it because someone, in this country,
yes, we
fear the judiciary, we fear the media, and the other person we cannot touch, even with a 10-foot pole, is that we are gagged in terms of critiquing the Right Honorable Odinga. But someone must call him out.
Yes.
As much as you are a revolutionary, a time must come when you must give the baton to another generation to run with it. Now, that cannot and will not happen with this maandamano Wednesdays,
Yes.
causing destruction of
Yes.
property.
Mr. Mugai, just there's one question that needs to come clear from you, and Obogo did ask you this question. If 15 million Kenyans are telling you that the tough choices that you're making, we do not want them, what should be your response as a president?
Simba, who is we? Who is we?
It's the 15 million people who are telling you that the tough choices you're making are not popular.
Remember, Simba,
Yes.
the aspiration is to collect 15 million signatures. That is the aspiration, not the reality. In fact, it's shocked if we can get even to 1 million signatures. That number of 15 million is a conflated number to make it.
Yes.
But you know very well, even when we go to vote in IEBC, you are well, even the voter card, even in perceived strongholds, is usually very low. And therefore, this 15 million is a superfluous hot air. It's a number that is meant to bamboozle us. But it's nothing. Nothing. Absolutely
Simba,
nothing.
Simba, I have asked a question.
Yes.
And indeed, I asked if 15 or 10 million is an inflated number. What if we are able to even to get that 1 million is talking about? What is that testament to this government?
Yes.
That is what I've said. And remember, I was saying you have your own issues to deal with Raila or to deal with Ruto's, which I may not get into.
Yes.
What I am here to get into, I am saying that if that is tenable, whether it's achieved by Raila or civil society of any other arm,
Pretty much.
it is a statement to this government that the issues you're dealing with are no longer tenable with the people.
Yes.
That's what I've said, in whatever way, my colleagues would want to see it. And this is what we are repeating here. The blunders, the legal landmines that are there, the political blunders that this government still continues to do.
Yes.
We are struggling with a court case. Yesterday that was made. And you see, I could see from other angles people talking about, you see that this government would go ahead and implement it, whether they like it or not. The courts warned you. The professionals warned you. Anyone who was at a stake, memorandum of thousands was at stake. They were warning you the decisions you are taking. It is not right. But what do? Kenyans did not. You go ahead talking about paychecks. You go ahead talking about this and that. Kenyans are telling you that decision is not sitting well with the people.
Yes.
You go ahead and do it and call it a hard decision. I mean, what else would you tell? Who does this government listen to? So I am here just to get a clarification on that. Because if that happens, it's a vote of no confidence to this government. And I am sticking my head saying that here, right here.
Pretty much. This is an issue that I want us to look at this morning as well. Mr. Mungai, I also want you to pay attention to it. Again, it's on the treatment of all the Kenyans who've been going out to demonstrate. Indeed, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki issued a stern warning to Azimio protesters, saying that the